What's going on, guys? Hope everybody's having a good Tuesday. In this video, we're going to be making this portal effect. This is going to be the portal that leads you from the boss fight into the next floor. So when you go into the portal, it will have like some type of effect and it will change the screen, and then you'll kind of like just go through like some type of like full screen animation, and then it will just like put you into the next level. This entire project is available for download in the description of the video. If you guys are enjoying the series so far, make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel. So the first thing you need to do is click the package manager. Inside of the package manager, you can install the visual effect graph. So then you can right click create, visual effect graph. And after that, you can drag the visual effect graph directly into your scene. If you double click on it, it will zoom in on where it is. And we're just going to bring it up a little bit away from the origin. After you've situated the visual effect graph where you want it to be in your scene, you can click on this edit button on the right of it, and it will bring up the actual graph itself. Okay, so in our visual effect graph, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to set the particles to be in a circle. So we can delete this velocity. We're not going to have a default velocity. If you press the spacebar on your keyboard, you can type in the word circle and just choose the top option, shape arc circle. This will put all of your particles into a circle. You can see them spawning along this circle. So then we want to set the velocity using something called the cross product. So if we move this up a little bit, if we right click, we can get the position of where each particle is. And then we can put this into cross product. And then if we add another node, it can be a vector 3, and we're just going to set the y axis to 1, and then we'll just add this to the second thing. And then we can put this into a set velocity node, and we can drag this in here, and I'm going to explain how it works. Alright, so the cross product is a vector that is perpendicular to two vectors. So let's say we have x and y like this, right? So let's say this is an x vector, which is away from the origin. Sorry, this is y, it's upwards. This is the y vector, and then this is the x vector. So if you take these two and you draw a line, I guess since these are a 90-degree angle, it would be like this. Normally, it would make a parallelogram based on the angles of these arrows. And if you take the area of this parallelogram and you go this way on the z-axis, this becomes, instead of an area, it becomes like the length of the vector. So it's a perpendicular vector that goes the distance of the area of the parallelogram that gets drawn between the two vectors. It's a pretty complicated topic. If you want to go, you could just go on YouTube and type in cross product. There's a very detailed video where someone uses like actual like visualizations of it and stuff. I'm not really going to go too far into it. Just know that this makes it spin, but it's not just spinning, it's doing like a calculation. So if you just turn this number up, it will make it go faster, but you'll also notice that these little dots are going further away from the center while it's doing it. Okay, so moving on, make sure you have the tutorial VFX graph selected on the left. And then if you go into your set position shape arc circle, there's a little drop down beside the arc circle where you can actually set like the size and stuff. And if you click on this, you get like a little editor window thing where you can resize this. So in mine, I put it into this doorway. So if you want it to fit into a doorway, you can, oh, the arc, I turned the arc to 0. Okay. Just be careful that you don't change the arc when you're doing this. So you can make it bigger or smaller with the radius, and then you can change the scale. So like if you lower the scale on the x-axis, like you drag these, it doesn't look like you can just drag them with like the little handles, because that does the radius instead. You can change like the x, the y, and the z and just make it fit into the doorway or whatever shape of circle that you want. It doesn't have to be a perfect circle is kind of what I'm saying. So like I just rearranged this so that it fit into the doorway, and you can change these x, y, and z values so that it has the shape that you're looking for. Then we're going to change the lifetime random to not be random. So if you just turn that off and just change the lifetime to maybe like 3, or you could have a low number and just spawn more particles. And that's exactly what we're going to do next. So let me just bring this stuff down for a sec. And we're just going to turn the capacity up to 10,000. Remember, the VFX graph is using your video card and not your CPU. So you can spawn a lot more particles, and these particles can't interact with anything in the scene. If you're looking to make these particles collide with something that doesn't work with VFX graph, you'll have to use the particle system. So we're just going to turn this up to like 2,000 for right now. That actually might be a lot, but we're going to adjust it as we go. And then at the bottom, one of the last things we need to do here is just, we can set the size over life, but we don't want it to be getting bigger over time. We want it to be getting smaller. So just change this to the curve to 1, And then it can go down to like, it doesn't need to be all the way to 0, but we're also going to fade it over life. So if you click on the set color over life, the last key can be completely 0 on the alpha and the first key should be full alpha. That way when the circles are spinning around, they kind of fade away instead of just disappearing like abruptly. And then we just want to change this default particle to be, I think this one, no, this one is better. These particles are way too big and there's way too many of them. So if we go back up here, we can click on this set lifetime, press the space bar and just type in set size and just change it to like, I don't know if 0.1 is maybe too much. Oh, this circle is really small, that's why. So let's just, we can either make the circle bigger by like scaling it up. So if you lock these, you can just make it bigger like this on the scale. And then we just need to maybe lower this. So 0.01, I don't know. Oh, it's not multiplying. Okay, so when you set the scale over life at the bottom here, set size over life, in the composition on the right here, we are set to overwrite. Let's just change that to multiply instead. So we get these small little dots and that's looking a lot better. And then the last thing we can maybe do is just leave it full alpha for a little bit longer so they only fade at the end. And then these colors need to be kind of better. So just pick like a portal-y color, like maybe like blue, and you could turn up the intensity at the bottom to make them glow a little bit. Okay. And we don't want this to fade at the end because it looks like it's not completing the circuit. So let's just try that maybe. No, I know what we need to do. We just need to make the lifetime like 5 seconds or something so that it actually, each of these particles should complete a full loop before disappearing so that they actually make it to the end. All right, and after a little bit more messing with it, I just turned off the multiply size over life. You can get rid of this because it's starting and it's getting smaller over time. It's creating like a hard line inside of the thing and we don't really want that line. And then inside of the color, I also got rid of like the fading over time. So you could just technically, you could just set the color instead of using color over life, but I'm not going to bother with that. The other thing I did was I added a random number. So if you press spacebar, you can type in the word random and you can add a random number. And this just makes it so that each of the particles has a different speed. So they're not all going at the exact same speed so they don't align. This again, it just separates those little, so the lines are less visible on it. So you just have to use the drop down here and put this into the y-axis. I just used a random number between 0.5 and 2. This would be for every single particle will have like a different speed for like how fast it's going around in a circle. And I think this size can just actually be even less than 0.1. So you could do like 0.5 maybe. So it's like more transparent, see-through, I guess. And you can still see that line there. Start out with a fade. So like this probably, and like this, and then add this and put this to 0. Put this to 0. That way the introduction is that. So then what we need to do now is if you right click in the open space, you can create a trails, simple heads and trails system. And this has like kind of like a built-in really cool look to it to begin with. So then we need to do the same thing that we did here. So if you take the circle from the first one, you can copy it and just paste it into the very last one like this. And this creates like this cool like kind of hexagon effect, but it's not spinning in a circle yet, which we're gonna have to do. So the same thing that we did before, we want to do that to this update particle strip. So if you press spacebar, you can set the velocity and you can actually take the same output from this cross product and put it into the velocity. Oh, it's all the way over here. Okay, so we just need to drag this guy all the way over here like this. And then this will make these spin in a circle. And then we want to change this from stretch to repeat per segment. Now you have to be careful when you do this because this uses a lot more calculation. Like if you put too many of these, it will lag your computer, right? So let's change the spawn rate to 40 and let's change the capacity to 400. And then the strip capacity also can be set to 400. This is way too bright. So what we need to do is change the color so that it's not like so like bright. So you can set the color to be, just turn down the intensity a lot. So to like, you can turn it even to 0 for right now, and then we'll come back to it. So just change this to 0 too. And then the first one could also be 0. And like, this is your taste. Obviously you can change the colors however you want. So then now you have this. What we want to do is just change this from, oh, it's already on additive. Never mind. So this is starting to be more what we want. So the middle one can maybe be a little bit brighter. So you can't really see it as much for this one. So you could either make the outside particles smaller, or you could just make this a little bit brighter. So we'll just take this and we'll just turn up the intensity just a little bit, so that it's kind of glowy like this. And then maybe the first one as well, or maybe this could be like more white of a color so that the intensity has more of an effect. So then you get them, because it's additive, you get the middle where these middle parts are really bright and then the outer is a little bit more purple. Let's just turn this down a little bit more though, because that's way too much. So we could do that. And then again, you could just make the size of this maybe even smaller. So just do like 0.2. So that way it doesn't like block the entire thing. And then you could make this a little bit brighter even, so that you can see it more, like see the dots more, and you get this cool effect. Yeah, so this is all I did to make this effect. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel. It really helps me out a lot. You can download this project for free in the description of the video. This is part of a series, so if you didn't know, we're making a game similar to The Binding of Isaac, and this is like part like 40 or something of the series. So if you're into that kind of thing, you can go back and watch from the first episode in the series. But like I said, the entire project, including all of the stuff that we've done up to this point, is available for download for free in the description of the video. You don't have to sign up for anything. It's just a Dropbox link. Yeah, I appreciate anyway, if you guys want to like the video and subscribe to the channel, and